Vernon Anderson on the line. Hi, Vernon.
Hi, Melanie. How are you doing?
Fine, honey. I was telling everybody I'm your truck stop pickup now. How's that for an intro?
Well, that's a pretty good one in there. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with that.
We have had a lot of fun with that. I was telling everybody that I met you and Sharon, your lovely wife, at the Rip Griffin's or the TA truck stop here in Big Spring, Texas, as you guys were on your way to San Antonio for a dog handlers reunion. And how awesome that I was there at that time to meet you guys. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do for our military guys.
Well, my military service was a little over 20 years, and most of that time was a dog handler and a teacher. I trained all dogs back in the early 66 through 69, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine dog handlers, sentry dog handlers. Prior to their going overseas to Vietnam and other stations, statewide. Currently, I'm the National Secretary of the Vietnam Dog Handler Association, and that's a group of military handlers that work dogs in a combat area. Doesn't make a difference what type of dog that they worked, whether it was a sentry dog, a scout dog, a mine and tunnel dog, a booby trap dog. And we also have a lot of associate members who work dogs but not in a combat area, and civilians. And the wife and I currently have an adoption program where we support dog handlers overseas, and we try to make sure that our philosophy in there is that the current military personnel will not be treated the same way that we were coming back home from Vietnam.
Man, and I tell you what, that I think is absolutely wonderful. How many members now, Vernon, do you guys have with your organization?
There's probably somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 members. Offhand, I can't give you the exact count right now on the Vietnam Dog Handler Association.
Well, I tell you what, when I met you guys, and of course I followed you, I just like an old dog, I followed you down to San Antonio when you guys had your reunion down there. I know you were dedicating Nemo's kennel there on the Air Force Base. Is that correct, the Air Force Base?
Yes, it's located back in the corner down at Lackland Air Force Base, and hopefully soon it'll be a little more accessible to the public to get into it and see it.
Well, I tell you what, that was probably the most emotional. Of course, all my listeners know what a big old baby I am, but that was the most emotional time, visiting with the guys, hearing their stories about their dogs, what they went through, how they had to leave their dogs behind. I tell you what, Vernon, it was just, it'll just tear you up. And I'd like for my people, for my listeners at this Memorial Weekend, to try to get more involved with your organization with things like Feed the Dogs, to try to support our military a lot more in various different ways.
Yeah, well, we're getting ready to go out to Nellis Air Force Base in June. There's a program out there that was started by John Hemp and Mike Mezak. They're a couple of old Vietnam dog handlers that finally come out of the woodwork in there after 30-some years where they could speak of their experience, and they started this program up where they take the current active military dog handlers, their families, and wives, kids, and everything else on it, and they take them to a steak barbecue there where we feed them steak dinners, barbecues, little programs on there for it at no charge to them, and it's just a thrill to us there to be able to sit down and talk to them and find out their experience. And I tell you what, Melanie, right now, I have the utmost admiration and respect for a current military dog handler due to the deployments that they have to go through, the type of war that they're fighting in there, and it's amazing, because they go over for 6 months to a year, come back for a few months, and they're deployed back out again. Doesn't make a difference what branch of the military you are. If the Marines need a dog handler and the Air Force dog handler's available, well, you become a Marine without the training, and you live with them. They become a member of the Air Force and that. But we want to take care of them as much as we can, and again say, don't let them get treated like we were treated.
Well, and I tell you what, I heard the stories of how when you guys came back, you know, I know most all of you came back without your dogs. Yes. And I know we don't want that to happen with our present military. And I, after talking to Sharon last night about this program of Feed the Dogs, it is in June. It's towards the latter part of June. I'm already trying to book my Vegas tickets to come out. And I would love to be there on the front lines to help you guys feed these military guys and families and help do this. So I'm anxious. Your wife's already said she's going to put me in the kitchen, going to put me to work. So I think this is a great program. And I know that you're going to be going all over with this program because I pulled it off the website, which is Feed the Dogs, DAWGS.com, correct?
Yes, it's all one word, Feed the Dogs, and that spelling has to be DAWGS.
That's exactly right. You guys can go online, look at this. There are some awesome pictures, I'm telling you, of guys and kennel masters. It's called Feed the Dogs Project. It shows the families having the barbecues and enjoying what it is that they do. It also showed, Vernon, it was some... let me get back here. On April 7th of 2010 at Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix, they did a retirement ceremony of 3 military working dogs. Yes. Man, that is a sharp, sharp picture. And, wow, that is just incredible.
Yeah, and, you know, and Sharon, you know, she has her own adoption program that she runs, you know, and that's off on my website at OneEyeJack, you know, ONEIJAK.com. If, you know, people want to help her out with that, we kind of just work in conjunction with a whole bunch of Feed the Dogs, the old dogs and pup programs through the VDHA, and we're all kind of intermingled and send things back and forth. And you know, she's really involved in that, and we do a lot of work up here at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, where we do a lot of the feeding of the dogs and the handlers up here, and unfortunately we're losing one of the best dogs that was ever out there, Paco. But Paco has to be put down there because he's just too vicious to be going out in a mental health you know, his mental problems are too much here. But you know, he's had 27 confirmed bites of his handlers, and
oh no.
Yeah, so, but Paco is well known in the military circle overseas, and the sandbox over there and back here. But we in the VDHA, I think, were more responsible for getting that program that allowed these dogs to be adopted out, because you know we had a lot of help with congressmen out on the East Coast there that fought for us, and President Clinton was the one then that signed the bill that they have to try and adopt these dogs out to either other you know, law enforcement or other programs, and then to the handlers, and then down to somebody else that's capable of handling them.
Well, I know that you guys talked a lot about that there in San Antonio, and there at Lackland Air Force Base. They had their breeding programs there for their DOD dogs. Yep. And also, too, that was one of their big things, is trying to get these military dogs adopted back out so that they didn't have to be euthanized. There is so much training that's gone into these dogs, and it's just a sad thing to let them be put down or let them be wasted trying to find them to go to a good home.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to see like happened to us in airport. You know, some 2,000 dogs. You know, they were declared surplus equipment. We don't know whether they were left in their kennels to starve to death, die, or what actually happened to them when they transferred them over. Because a lot of the Vietnamese didn't like dogs, didn't trust them, and you know, anything could have happened to them.
Well, Vernon, what type of dog did you have when you were there?
I had a German Shepherd in there. Mine was a patrol dog, drug dog that I worked actually in Thailand, and my other 3 dogs that I had in there were all sentry dogs.
Wow, I tell you, that was one of the things that I found so amazing when I met with y'all there in San Antonio is that you guys remembered the dogs, you remembered their ID numbers, the stories, and how you had such fond memories of each dog that you had.
My canine heart lies with a dog, Shadow 170th, over in the Philippines. That was the first dog I ever worked in the service. Beautiful black and tan German Shepherd, and I had a few pictures sent to me by handlers, after I worked him. But yeah,
and
we do remember them.
Oh yes, because they were your best buds. I know from the stories. You slept with them, you ate with them. If there was any food, they got the food first, and if there was any left over, then you guys got it.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and they got. They got a lot of the times in the airport. They got the same medical treatment that a military personnel got, because once they found out what they could do, they just they didn't abandon them and leave them lay on the battlefield. They air vac them out and everything else.
Wow, I tell you what, that is just incredible. Vernon, tell my listeners, how can they right now get onto your website, check out the Vietnam Dog Handlers Association? Where do they need to go so that they can either get a hold of you, get a hold of Sharon, get a hold of Fred? Where can they start checking this out?
All they got to do is type in vdha.us.
vdha.us.
Yes, yep, and that will get them to the Vietnam Dog Handler Association website, and there's places on there to contact us, things that they can go through. Some of it's restricted to members only, like a lot of the other places are.
Well, I tell you what, and they can also get on there, because I pulled this off, they can go on to the list of VDHA officers,
yes.
And of course they can get to your website there, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
that would go directly to Andy at vdha.us, correct?
Yeah, that's emailed to me.
Okay. All right, and then if they want to get a hold of Sharon, you could just pass that on to Sharon and see about her adoption program?
Yeah, they can do that, or as they say, they can go up onto my oneeyejack.com website, and that'll get directly into me, and then I pass everything on to Sharon. That's the ONEIJAK.com.
Okay, all right, that's ONEIJAK. Okay, there we go.
.com.
Okay, gotcha. ONEIJAK.com. ONEIJAK.com. Okay, all right. I'm brain dead right now. Okay, I got her. I got it. Okay, all right. And I tell you what, Sharon was telling me that you guys have another dog now at the house. You've got a yellow lab.
Yes, we do.
And is this a military dog, or is this just a new adoptee?
No, well, this is a brand new one, and they're after her two boys died, the two black labs. We've got the yellow female lab, and it's now a service dog for Sharon and I.
Excellent. Because when we talked, of course, talking about going to Vegas,
yes.
I may get to meet this new one, so I'm excited.
Yeah. You just, kind of an offshoot thing here, I think one of the most memorable things from my military careers is that I hear from my past students